Candace Owens and Jimmy Dore blame Jews for Stalin's massacres. Okay. What are we on about here?
I'm America first. I won't apologize for it. I'm Christianity first. I won't apologize for it. And that upsets some people because I guess, how dare she have the audacity? Well, guess what? I have the audacity, folks.
So you're saying that
we'll never not be astonished by the fundamental cowardice of the far right, that they can never advance their positions. The left, like, often to their own detriment, is often like too loud about what they actually want, you know? Like, left-leaning officials are usually pretty straightforward about their interest in like a proletarian state or whatever, like whatever varying step they think about, whatever, like, they're not ashamed of their politics. Meanwhile, every like grinning Nazi is always dog whistling. Like, what is America first? What is Christianity first? Well, they very rarely explicitly say, of course, because it's meant to be like a signal of association. By the way, man, Jimmy Dore, huh? From TYT to like weirdo campus anti-Dem party, but to the extent that it assists Republicans, to vaccine conspiracy, to like just openly associating with Nazis.
there was a greater Holocaust of Christians that happened.
All right, I guess. Well, you know, okie dokie is what I'm saying.
And it was committed by the Bolsheviks, and the leader of them at the time was a Jewish guy.
That's pretty crazy. Do I have to like put effort into debunking this, or can I just say that this is literally straightforwardly word for word objective neo-Nazi propaganda? It's not even neo-Nazi, it's just Nazi propaganda. This is what they said then too. It's not even like sanitized and filtered for the modern like dog whistle or whatever. It's like all the way back.
Well, Henry Kagoda, what really ran the Gulag camp system. So people should read, if you're interested, Alexander Solzhenitsyn talking about how shocking it was to watch the American president linking arms with Stalin, talking about we're putting an end to the Holocaust in World War II. And Stalin was still mass killing Christians in Russia. I mean, it's an absolute nonsense. And you got to take it back all the way. You know, the Bolshevik Revolution happened. They assassinated the Tsar, I think, in 1880.
I wonder what it means for Candace Owens and Jimmy Dore to be opposed to the alliance between the Soviet Union and the USA during World War II. I wonder who was on the other side of that dynamic, you know? The unmentioned outsider in this particular exchange.
And then by the time they actually properly took over, I think it was...
Wait, what did she just say?
I think in 1880. And then, you know, the Bolshevik Revolution happened. They assassinated the Tsar, I think, in 1880.
Well, I mean, as long as we're arguing from a position of historical familiarity. I think it was 1780, actually.
And then by the time they actually properly took over, I think it was around 1910. And so what was going on in...
Is this like some minor historical factoid that we're talking about? Are we talking about the assassination of Alexander II? But that wasn't the revolution. That was... Yeah, that's not the Romanovs. That's what people talk about when they talk about the Bolsheviks. I'm more surprised she even knew about this. Nazis love memorizing and then incorrectly regurgitating minor historical factoids as part of a broader policy of defending the Nazis. Like, they do this with like the Reichstag burning, or they do this with like meandering little details about the gulags or about the Soviet Union or whatever else, where they're like, okay, well, here's a tiny little tidbit you didn't know. And then everyone's like, what? I didn't know that. You know, maybe there's some broader point to this I don't know about. But then you learn a little bit more and it's like, no, this just wasn't the Bolsheviks. that wasn't how that worked, you know?
Russia at that time was they immediately took over. They started a gulag system, concentration camps, where they were mass drowning Christians in barges. And this information is readily available, and yet you never learn about it. And people don't want to talk about it.
That's true, man. Nobody ever hears anything bad about the Soviet Union in American history classes. That's so true. You know? You never hear about this. What?
It makes them very uncomfortable.
Well,
them very uncomfortable. Just straightforward Nazi. Also, when did... This doesn't even make sense within the context of Jimmy Dore's previously established campism. Jimmy Dore used to be the kind of like Jackson Hinkle campist, where he's like pro-Syria, pro-Russia, pro-China, but now we're doing like anti-Soviet stuff, which seems contrary because the kinds of people who today defend Assad usually would say that, if anything, America's too critical of the Soviet Union. Did he get so much money from the COVID denial stuff that he realizes now his audience might as well just be Nazis? What do the comments look like underneath this video? That's what I'm curious about. Jimmy Dore is a whoever's writing the Czech campus. Yeah, that's true. I guess I just didn't realize the Czech was like, the video is called Shocking Candace Owens Interview with Jimmy Dore. That might be true. All right, let's take a look at the comments. 90% of Americans now identify as non-binary, laughing, crying emoji ×3. Gotcha. Okay. Thomas Massey, my wife lost her hospital job because she refused to be vaccinated. But okay, how far down do we have to go before anyone... It's all COVID stuff. How far down do we have to go before anyone talks about the blatant Nazi propaganda? Hunter Biden, the jab. I am from New Zealand. On the 15th of November 2021, I stood up to the bullies and was sacked from my 18-year teaching career and passion because I refused to comply with the order to inject the C jab. These people are crazy. These are top instead of newest. The comments, I mean. Can you just get, like, libertarian-leaning COVID denialists on board with Nazism that easily? I guess you can. I'm literally not seeing anyone mention this. Like, it's all just a random USS Liberty comment. Oh, I missed that one. Boom, she invoked USS Liberty. Okay, yeah. I don't see anything here about... Okay. You can criticize Israel without hating Jews. 10 comments. I wonder what those are like. Why not both? Can and should. Comments on this country are being deleted like hell? No, you can't. Israel is the state of the Jewish people. The overwhelming majority of Jews support Israel, and a ton of their orgs are centered around supporting it. Now you know who is in control? Man, that's crazy. Genuinely, how many of Dore's original followers still follow him wholeheartedly? Probably a decent number, because Jimmy Dore was always conspiratorial enough that you can sort of groom your audience into following along on a bunch of different bad positions. This is one of the reasons conspiracism is really, 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 really dangerous, because once you've been keyed into, anytime anyone says, they don't want you to know this is a secret, I'm telling you, you can get them to believe basically anything. I guess I didn't realize how far along Jimmy Dore had gotten. Like, this seems like a lot, personally. This seems like, I'll admit, this is a little bit further than I expected. I have no idea what, like, prior context would have led to them both just, like, regurgitating Nazi propaganda of this kind. But, you know, I'm not omniscient. I don't know.
I didn't hear about it until I heard you talk about it.
Yeah, Henrique Goda. Look him up. It's stunning. I mean, he must have killed alone 15 million people. Candace, and this is a person that's not even spoken about. And so that's the reason why Piers just goes, okay, yeah, no, okay, let's move on to the next point. So in my viewpoint, the Israeli government has way too much involvement with the American government.
That's crazy. The immediate segue too, from straight up like, yeah, the Stalin was a Judeo-Bolshevik conspiracy to kill Christians immediately into Israel. Whatever happened to dog whistling, man?
And part of that, this program, and you saw this after October 7th, Congress immediately passed that there would be like we would be learning about October 7th in schools as if it was like Pearl Harbor, right? A day that will live in infamy. Why? This is not my country. That's a nonsense. And if the answer is, oh, because it's a day that should live in infamy, why just Israel? Why is Israel?
Well, I agree with her on this, but the problem is when she says it, it's part of the JQ, and when I say it, I'm just opposed to Zionism.
Right. Why not also what's happening in Armenia or happening in Nigeria or happening all over the world? Why not a day that will live in infamy? Russia actually just went through a terror attack, and Russia has a lot of Christians. I'm Christian. So if we can just start drafting over days of terror that happen on the basis of our religion, I'd like to draft what just happened in Russia. I want my kids to learn about that in school.
Go ahead, Kurt.
Stalin hated Jews. Yeah, a lot of people, one of the biggest points of evidence against the so-called Judeo-Bolshevik conspiracy theory is the fact that the Soviets were crazy anti-Semitic. The Doctors plot was a Soviet state-sponsored anti-Semitic campaign and conspiracy theory that alleged a cabal of prominent medical specialists, predominantly of Jewish ethnicity, intending to murder leading government or party officials, known as the case of saboteur doctors or killer doctors. A ton of them were accused of a conspiracy to assassinate Soviet leaders, and yeah, you know, accompanied by publications of anti-Semitic character in the media, which talked about the threat of Zionism and condemned people with Jewish surnames. Following this, many doctors, both Jews and non-Jews, were dismissed from their jobs, arrested, and tortured to produce admissions. Like, I don't know. I don't know. One of the first things that changed when Stalin died was that anti-Semitic purges stopped. Look at Stalin on Wiki and go to death. That sounds like a lot of work, but, you know, maybe for you, man. It's pretty crazy. I don't know. The doctor's plot might have led to Stalin's death because he had killed / purged basically all the skilled doctors who could have saved him. Maybe. Maybe. Wouldn't that be fitting? Anyway, just, I guess I don't really know what to say here. Did you guys all know that Jimmy Dore was this Hitlerite? Because I didn't. They were gearing up for a massive ethnic cleansing of Russian Jews when Stalin died. The rest of the Soviets were like, whew, that would have been a disaster, and stopped immediately. I assumed. This is, like, I knew it was bad. This is really bad, though. It's not crazy surprising, I guess. It's just, I think he's kind of irrelevant anymore. His interview with Candace Owens is 2 days old and has 500,000 views, so I'm afraid not. Seems like he's in the same boat as Hinkle, considering how Hinkle's doing Nazi shit too, but couching in Israel. Yeah. Dore might be cleaning up Nazi posts in the comment section. I would actually bet almost anything that's the case. That because, like, this keeps happening to Nazis on YouTube where they dog whistle but their audience can't, so they have to go in and scrub their own. Lauren Southern did this constantly back before she took a break off content to be abused by a trad husband and then left that lifestyle because it turns out it's actually really bad. She would go in the comments and scrub like enormous amounts of 1488 posting. Like, look. I go to sort by newest comment. Stalin's real last name is Dugashilevy, which translates to son of a Jew. The largest estimate of murder genocide from the Soviet regime, communist Bolshevik Jews, was 140 million whites killed from. Yeah, like, there you go. Literally, the most recent comment is like mentally ill schizo posting from a Nazi. Least Hitlerite Dore fan, true. It is her brother. He runs the family chocolate business. Literaturnaya Russia and 12,000 churches destroyed by war, starvation, torture, murder. Okay. Marx was a Jew, as was Lenin. The second comment is also deranged. Marx was like ethnically Jewish, but was actually kind of personally anti-Semitic. Not like as much so as some detractors of Marx like to present him as. He was more anti-Semitic in the kind of latent, like, you know, I can't believe these guys, my parents sort of way, not in the like militant JQ kind of way. People always overstate that on both sides. The problem is that historically contextualizing Marx's anti-Semitism requires you to be familiar with how anti-Semitic the average person was back then, which is very. So when you put it in its proper place, it's more of a kind of like grumble, you know, or my family is like this grumble thing, and not so much like proto-Nazism. Yeah, Marx low-key problematic, you know? Didn't he write the Jewish question? Yeah, but like me, Marx is prone to getting clipped. The text on the Jewish question was him rebuking the anti-Semitic conspiracy theory posited by other people. Like, people just look at the title, they don't actually read it. If you actually read it, he's referring to like the pre-Nazi Jews control everything conspiracy theory. He like on it as in like, I'm rebuking it. My thoughts on this topic. He got clip-chimped. Yeah, he was mocking it, essentially. Jimmy Dore talking vaccines with David Icke? Huh. David Icke on Twitter. Why is a political activist not look into it before you get vaccine injured? Blah, 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 blah. Jimmy Dore, because I'm dumb. I was told to get it by a doctor who'd previously saved my life when no one else could. Love to make conciliatory comments to David Icke. I'm just remembering fondly how earlier on in the channel, there were a lot of people who thought that I was uncharitable towards, Jimmy Dore. Man, it's crazy how I'm right about everything. Literally every person online who I marked is like, yeah, Nazbol Vortex, like these people are all far right. Like I was correct on, I think all of them. I don't think I got anyone wrong, did I? Why are right-wingers anti-medicine? Because a broader attitude of conspiracism can help enable people on other questions of conspiracy, like the JQ or whatever. Crystal, maybe? I mean, Crystal still kind of hovers on the fence sometimes, but I admit that she seems to be motivated by a bit more of like a principled position than a lot of others. I still just don't understand the dynamic on breaking points personally, but whatever. Who up breaking they points? True. You sure do love watching political media, Benjamin. Crystal's actually smart. Crystal is smart for sure. Yeah.